basically the situation with that company was they were using the quote unquote managers to fill holes in the schedules because they weren't adequately staffed. And some of these people were working like triple shift
Mm-hmm.
with zero compensation. And the company wasn't doing dick about it.
No, of course not.
And it was like, oh, and you have to cover it because that's your responsibility. You're the manager. And it's like, no, bitch, I ain't the manager because if I was, I would have hired some fucker to come in here and cover it.
At least give me long enough to go to fuck to sleep for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, triple shifts is like illegal unless it's like a fucking state of emergency, right?
State of emergency, non-emergency employees can work around the clock with limited rest periods depending on what they're doing. Um, in
But this
a
was just like a Thursday,
yeah,
you know,
there's
like a random Thursday. Oh, we don't have anybody to cover that shift. Guess you have to stay.
No, you can get fucked.
Well, and that's the thing. And we were salaried, so there was no overtime involved.
of course not.
And they were like, "Oh, yeah, you get comp time except you don't really." Like
Well,
because here's the thing, there were so many holes in the schedule
You could never
that
take
those
your comp time.
managers. Yeah, right, because 'cause they're like, "Oh, program needs, you have to be there.
Hmm.
You can't take your comp time."
So the way ours is structured, at least at the ground level, is that there's the non-dues paying people that we represent. They are no longer fair share because of the Janus court case, so they don't pay anything. They don't pay the alternative
So
minimum.
it's an open shop.
It's now technically an open shop. So if they get hired, they get union representation. They get all the perks of the union without having a union there, or without having to be in the union or pay their
Right.
fair share.
They get an option.
The option is join or don't,
Right.
and the join option engenders you the right to vote when you're in probation.
Mhm.
As soon as you pay your dues, you gain the right to vote, and you gain the right to run for steward or be put on a committee uh, if you are outside of your initial probationary period. So if like you're a 6 months fresh off the boat employee, right? You just
Mhm.
came in the door. You start paying your dues. You immediately have the right to vote, which only means anything in election years. Like we have some
Right.
probationaries right now who are paying their dues and they have the right to vote just for walking in.
Right. Right.
Um, but then more importantly, like after your 6 months probation, you also gain the right to become a steward or join the health and safety committee functionally. Those are our two big things. And the third secret thing is like when we make certain administrative decisions, only the members get to weigh in. The non-members don't get to say shit because we had an incident where the non-members were bitching about how the union was run locally, and everyone was like, "Oh, well, they said this and that," and I was like, "Do they pay dues?" They're like, "I don't know." I said, "I do. Don't listen to them. They don't pay
Right.
dues. They don't tell you
Because
what to do."
because that's the thing. If you work in a union shop but you don't belong to the union, you get all the union benefit,
Uh huh.
but like you don't have any of the union responsibilities really.
That and you don't have a right to say how the union is run.
Exactly.
So
So because
your
that's the
opinion on the
thing. It's
matter is
like
useless.
right. And it's like
yeah,
if
you
you
didn't,
want to have a
you
say,
haven't paid
then
for
join
your
the fucking
opinion.
union.
Yeah, pay for your opinion, bitch.
Yeah, essentially like it's the blue check on X, but in reverse. Because it doesn't mean you're a piece of shit in the
Right.
union. So
Right.
the other half of how our union runs at the local level is our supervisors are in the union because they don't have the right to hire and fire. They can't be classified as non-exempt. So the union gets to bolster their numbers and thus their revenue on dues paying members at each of the classifications because they get to add the supervisors to it, right? But technically we're not rank and file, so we had to have our own representation, hence the supervisory steward position, which I occupy one of them at our shop. We have three stewards total, and we kind of run things in a triumvirate. We all powwow, and that's how we get things done around here. at least for the supervisory stewards. When there's something that affects the office, um, we're the most aggressive. And to be fair, like we have the fewest members who can complain about things. And as supervisors, you have the most flexibility in your scheduling, right? Because you don't have a rank and file production task.
Right.
So,
And in theory, they're not relying on you for coverage for
well,
shift.
our coverage is logistical. Are there enough supervisors in the building in case an accident occurs, like we had
Mhm.
a few weeks ago? Is there enough in case of a fire drill to run a fire drill, or God forbid,
Right.
evacuate the building? Is there enough to handle the people who walk up to the door in our closed facility and turn them away politely and get them the right information when you turn them away? That's the kind of shit we're doing. Is a lot of
Right.
logistical bitch work, and also just quick reference in production management and stuff like that. All that bitch work that supervisors do and everybody lauds, right?
Right.
That's what we do.
And you
So
need to be a warm body for the rank and file to come to be like, what am I supposed to do?
yeah, exactly. If they have a question, you got to answer. You got to be able to handle that task. You know what I mean? So we tend to have the most time. So when there's something affecting the office logistically that affects the union all in the same negative way, right? What you will find in our shop, at least, is our supervisor stewards usually then inform the rank and file stewards, and we call a meeting. And then after we've called the meeting, we discuss everybody's perspective, we come up with a union response, and then we go to management and challenge them directly. And the reason we usually lead on it, again, is just because we have more time on our hands. It's not because we're their superiors, we get to tell them what to do. We have no right to tell them what to do. When we're in conflict, like when we're in our supervisory capacity, not our union member capacity, the stewards can take an equal run at us if we've misbehaved in our disciplinary meetings. Like, let's say we got to tell a guy he's got to shape up, we better have proof that he's not shaping up.
Right. If it's not documented, it didn't happen.
Exactly. There's certain things we just have to do, right?
Word.
Yeah. So a lot of that is like you cannot like I joke that a lot of our job really is like you cannot tell the callers what race you think they are. You cannot tell the callers what slur you think would fit the race you think they are is. You know what I mean? Like when we're doing our job right in training, the most we have to do is like, no, you have to take the calls from the Spanish speakers. You can't turn them away on the basis of them speaking a funny language. That's not a thing you're allowed to say.
Right. You get language line.
Yeah.
Y-
Yeah, we get language line. Exactly. It
Right.
actually was our provider for a while.
You get the interpreter.
Exactly.
Yep.
You go do it and you deal. And maybe the call takes long, but the corollary is we're supposed to be like, okay, the call took long.
Responsive to everyone.
Yeah, when we're doing our quality check.
Everyone.
Exactly. So, like that's the way that kind of divvies out. Well, as a function of that, if your voting rights are really the thing you get, or the ability to be a steward, and you get that extra, like people like there's no extra rights of being a steward. Um, there are, because you have the leniency to discuss these things, you have the right to investigate things, and more importantly, when you catch bullshit, you have the right to start filing grievances willy-nilly. As long as you can show where under the contract it's violated, you can start firing them off. You can shoot, you basically shoot your shot. Now non-members can grieve, but they have to usually go through a steward because we have to be able to establish a contractual violation. Likewise,
Right.
members could grieve on their own, but if they're not familiar with the contract, it's probably not going to be very accurate.
It's kind of like trying to sue somebody when you don't have a lawyer.
Exactly, it's kind of like that. We function in that legal capacity, like because I'm work white
Right.
collar, you know.
Because the steward's job is to know the ins and outs of the contract and what constitutes violation and what the reparations for that are supposed to be.
Yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, that's what your steward does for you on a day-to-day basis. And then if you work in a heavy labor occupation, your steward takes care of an awful lot more. They have a harder job than I do. But even, y- you
Because
know,
they have to like not litigate, but they have to negotiate like job duties. Like
Uh-huh.
you can't ask our workers to do that.
You got to take that up with you got to call in a different union. That's their job, not ours. You got to define, like the steward has to
Right.
protect that. No, you can't send the welders up and have them act as carpenters. The carpenters union needs to be called in if you need a carpenter.
Right.
Or if you have company
Or like
carpenters, that's fine. Send
flagrant,
their ass up there and do it.
right. Or if there's like flagrant like OSHA violations, it's like you can't make somebody do that. That's the shop
And
steward's job. Like their job is to know the contract and to know what kinds of work is covered.
right,
Because most things have like a little sort of caveat like extra duties as assigned. But if the extra duty is something that by contract or by law some other motherfucker should be doing, it's the steward's job to know that. It's not really the employee's job to know what is their job. I mean, they can, they should know what's in their contract, but if they question something, that's the shop steward's job to know,
yeah,
right?
yeah. It's their job to be on the field litigation of that. So like we have that a little bit because there are certain things our interviewers are permitted to do, and that is then reserved for our examiners, and our examiners then have certain authority that is curbed until you become a supervisor, and so on up the chain, right? Well, obviously, I can't write policy for the Commonwealth, but um, like there's like a list of responsibilities, and somebody's the lowest at that bottom tier, right? So that's kind of how that functions. And when we see them trying, when we catch that they're trying to cross mix those things, the supervisors can intervene on that because we're all in the union and we have to be able to be like, yo, you can't take that money away from my union brothers. But really, the classification that is the one being aggrieved should lead that charge, and then like somebody like me should be like, yeah, you can't make my workers work outside of their
Right.
classification. You can't have them work up for no pay.
As
You need to pay them.
Yeah, as a steward, your job is to protect the rights of the workers under the
That you steward.
contract that you're supervising, basically, right?
Yeah. You need to be watching out. You need to be watching the backs of all your union brothers and sisters who work and do your job. Whoever you're stewarding is who you're supposed to steward. So if you're a labor, if you're a general laborer steward, you steward the general laborers. If you steward electricians, you steward electricians, and you watch out there. You were supposed to watch airbacks. In my case, I watch the other supervisors in my job, and then errantly, I am required to support the rank and file whenever somebody's attacking their job. Unless that job is somehow in direct conflict with ours, in which case we have to, usually speaking, we would negotiate that in house first. We wouldn't let management see that. That's only happened like one time, and it ended in favor of the examiners in this case. Um, not,
Oh, you mean if it's a conflict between union and union?
yeah, it's inter-union conflict, but you negotiate in house and you keep that
Oh,
shit out of
yeah, yeah,
management's mouth.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't let
like, you
them.
usually make an agreement like, "Okay, you send, like, one we'll give you one, like, no show, no work employee for every 8 hours of labor." I mean,
Yeah,
let's be real, that's how shit works sometimes, and, like, okay, you know, um, but
yeah,
overall, it's a
exactly.
good thing
Yeah, oh yeah, no, they're useful. Somebody's got to be watching your back, and like I said, that's how we
because
function.
your employer sure as shit isn't gonna have your back.
They
Fuck
may
no,
if
they're
it
not.
they always will when it benefits them.
Right,
Yeah.
but
Everybody always has your back whenever it benefits them, but you need somebody who has your back. Like the ideal steward is somebody who has your back, even if it would be a mild inconvenience to them. If it's just gonna actually attack a
like
union, no, they should
even if
stand in
they
opposition to your behavior and tell you to shut up. But when it would be like, well, you would get this, I would lose this, but that would be in the best interest of the union because at least it shows that when these considerations are there, we make do. Like maybe you can't work X shift, and instead of being like, well, suck shit, suck shit, quit or go, whatever. No, your steward needs to be like, all right, we'll figure out a way to get that shift covered without having to just necessarily ram you on. And if it's going to make your ability to do work on the shift you need go flow, you know what I mean? Like there's that kind
It's
of
like
shit.
what it comes down to is like even if your steward personally thinks that you as a human being are a shithead,
Yeah,
if your grievance is legitimate,
they need
they're
to have your
still
back.
gonna fight for you.
Right. They need to have your back. And that's how you know you have a good steward. Even if they don't like you personally, if your grievance is legitimate, they need to be
Right.
swinging
Well, and I
fists on
think
your
that's where
behalf.
a lot of
And
people
because some people will
go.
try to grieve like every fucking thing,
Uh huh.
but a good shop steward will pick through that and be like, like, here you have a point. Even if I
Yeah.
think you're an asshole, even if I think you created the bad situation, I'm still gonna defend your grievance because by the terms of the contract, you are right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the beef, man. You
Right.
just got to
If
get
you're
through.
a fucking
Like,
dick,
Yeah.
the steward has your back if it comes to contractual obligations.
well, and that's one thing I always told myself, even just as I was working, because I had to work with that person I was talking about earlier for like 3 years, off and on. And I always just told myself, I would never want somebody, and I know this is like really stupid dream world thinking, but I always thought, like, I would never want somebody to withhold anything from me for my job to be able to do my job. So I would never do that to anybody else, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, I might not be nice to you, but I'm not going to withhold information that you need to do your job.
Yeah. So I don't know, but that's like stewarding. And then like I said, like the big thing is like the other thing is this is kind of really important. Even if you have beef, like let's say in our shop, if two stewards had beef, you don't let that shit spill out on the floor. You don't let that shit spill out. It's not shit for other people to know, even your buddies to know if you have beef with the other steward, because there is a level of solidarity you are supposed to have to make sure that the shop
Right.
functions. Because what if you need to, what if you also need to, um, like negotiate together against management?
Well,
You're
here's
gonna
the thing. Most people work an 8-hour day, right? Is that typically what you work?
7.5 with the lunch unpaid, yeah.
Whatever, you know? So that's 7 hours, typically 5 days a week, that you are stuck with these people. It's almost like another fucking family because you're
Almost.
shoved together with, I mean, and I'm not talking like family in the sense of we're a family. It's more like you're shoved in with a bunch of other dysfunctional fucking people that you might not like, that you have to fucking deal with. And I'm not talking about like the family you choose. I'm talking about like the, Uncle Rick that is a Trump lover or whatever,
Yeah.
the actual dysfunction of a fucking family, not the we family. Fucking blow my brains out, please. Jesus.
Yeah, it's fucked up. But at the same time, like,
So yeah, all I'm gonna say is you're gonna eventually have beef with somebody because you're stuck with them a fucking lot.
yeah,
And so eventually you're gonna have a tiff, and then sometimes that's just part of life. You just get through it, dude. Talk it out, get through it, and then move the fuck on.
yeah. So I don't know.
Because we're all adults.
Yeah. That's the 20-minute lecture on stewarding, and just that's like the shape of my union. That's how it's shaped. So like when I say I'm a steward, I am a steward, but I'm a steward for a very small group of people. But I always have to remind, like, I'll tell you what, I'll be honest. Like, I have to remind people so often. I'm like, I am a supervisor steward. If there's an issue affecting the whole office, I can happily negotiate on the whole union's behalf. But when it doesn't affect the supervisors and it affects rank and file, you guys need to go deal with it. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because I don't represent you. Do you
We're
understand?
talking work in here.
A little bit. Rare Dan posting for work.
MJP!
Yeah, chat.
what
Filing
up?
grievances willy-nilly is the
How
only thing
are
for women.
you?
No, filing grievances like willy-nilly is like, that's dog shit. Because like, if you file a grievance that's not covered by a contract, you're fucked. You just look like an asshole, and then nobody wants to be around you because you waste their time all the time.
Well, that's why the steward kind of triages that shit, right?
If we can. Like, I'll tell you, like, my favorite like, I'll tell you this: if you think it's cool to grieve everything, right? Like, follow that logic through for 5 seconds, because we don't live in an online bubble. We live in the real world where the Trump people also live. And imagine what they want me to grieve, right? Imagine whose existence they want me to grieve at work. So no, fuck grieving everything. You have to be an adult about it. Like, it sounds funny to say, like, woo woo woo,
A black
but
person wanted to talk to me today.
that's a real grievance. Somebody tried to file. Yep. Go ahead, keep going.
How do I know?
How do you triage that?
Oh my god.
How do you triage that shit right now? Black people exist, and I want to grieve it. Triage that. Find that in the contract. Go ahead, I'll wait. Like, I'm not being
Well,
funny.
I
I'm
told
not
you
funny.
how I would
I'm
want
not
to
funny
do,
right now.
but
Give me about 5 minutes, and I'll go back to making gay with your dad jokes all night. But like, yeah, you can't triage that shit. What you do is you throw it out and tell them this shop is open employment and meets the civil rights standards, and shut the fuck up. That's what you do. That's how you triage that shit. There's no fixing
yeah, if you don't
because
like
part of
that,
the steward's job is to
there's
tell
the door.
the members when they are wasting your fucking time and being an asshole.
Yeah. So like, there you go. Like, we've had I think you get gay from the bathroom. So I don't want to use the same bathroom as the gay employees, and I want the gay employees to have to identify themselves so I know which ones not to use the bathroom after. Triage, yeah, go ahead. I'll wait. Like, that's mean. Fuck grieving everything. Like, no, that's how you
But that's
triage
what I
it.
was
Fuck
saying
yeah. It's not
before.
triage. That's
Like,
literally going no. That you just have to say no.
right. But when you're talking about the people that want to grieve everything,
Yeah.
part of being a good steward is, even if you know it's an asshole that's grieving everything,
If that
you gotta
asshole got cheated on their pay,
you
sure.
gotta sort through it and be like, all right, even though I think you're a fucking dick, you have a point on this one, I'ma file it. I might hate you and hope you die in a fire, but if it's justified, I'm still going to defend it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, MJP,
What's up?
when are we allowed to talk about the super secret project?
The super secret project? It's not super secret.
It's not secret. We talked about it here already.
Bro,
Yeah.
we should start plugging it now.
Okay, start
Yo,
plugging
guys, we're doing a story jam. Yay, yay.
Yeah, we got a visual novel, and it's Lovecraftian, and it's gonna be tight. It's called Skin Deep. The itch page isn't up yet, but it will be on itch.io. It will be free for the first month of October. So, at the end of the month, we'll
The
have it
2nd
submitted.
October, no such luck.
Or no, it's free all of October. November
No,
is when
November.
it's,
November is
when you're winning.
2nd October.
You said the first month of October, and I was making a joke about that.
Ah, I messed up the plug. I had one job. But yeah, it's gonna be
You're
tight.
good.
We got
We're
some
good.
good
Take
artists. Got some good artists. We got a deep
good.
narrative.
Amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
This
we got
script-
fantastic artists.
The
Amazing,
script
amazing
is
artists.
fucking baller.
Yeah, it's actually crazier than I ever would have thought it would have been. way,
Yeah.
way nuts. So
And people that we've met along the way, like I know that sounds really goddamn corny,
mhm.
but but it's really true. Like I don't think I never would have met any of these people if it wasn't for this.
Oh
So
yeah, the voice
really
actors
cool.
are top notch too. I was actually really shocked when we got Kira in because she knows all the voice actors. So we have some amazing voice acting. We got a unique format with the text message, the way that's handled, text messaging, and then on top of the backgrounds, it's gonna be nuts, y'all.
I I I mean my main like purpose in participating in this was A, to have fun, B, to meet other like cool creatives, and goddamn, like
Mm-hmm.
I was not expecting this level of quality.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
exactly. I
Oh
feel
no, I actually
honored
make games if
now
you didn't
to
know.
be
Or that's
like,
no, I mean, not that I doubted you, but I'm just thinking like, okay, for a month long, you know, see your pants like project, what can you really expect? But Jesus Christ, seriously,
yeah.
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's
I'm just blown away. So, and and I signed up for it. So if anybody that's listening to this, fuck's sake, you got to check it out. You're not gonna believe it.
oh yeah, and we got to get True Horror to do a blind play test at some point because I think this is gonna be his jam. He's gonna be like all in.
Oh, and also because I had my weekly conversation with the Munchkin last night, and
Aw,
apparently, well, Thursdays is our thing. But
cool.
apparently he follows a lot of the jams on Itch
Ooh.
because he's like, oh yeah, and some of them are really great. I'm like, oh, like, will will you
Well,
will you, will you do my thing when it's up? And he's like, oh, of course. So, and I was like,
oh,
okay,
he's it's so funny, and funny thing, it's kind of hard to get people to play your game because you just go, oh hey guys, play my game, it's gonna be super cool. But no, this shit is quality. Like I've not seen
right.
anything of this level of quality in a while. I didn't even really, because like I just make things and I make it to the best that I can, and then all of a sudden I started getting like great artists who were like, oh shit, this is looking good. Then all of a sudden we started getting like
Would
good UI. We're like, whoa. Then the backgrounds, and then the story was like just dumped on our heads, and we're like, whoa.
But like what tickled me is he's like, oh yeah, I follow like I often follow projects on there because like some cool shit comes out of it.
Yeah, we're
So
bringing a rocket launcher to a
I
gun. We're
think
bringing a rocket launcher to a knife fight on this one. It is absolutely ridiculous compared to some of the quality of some.
well,
I'm
I'm
not to
but
super
it
trash other
excited.
but
stuff.
wait, what you were saying as far as like getting people to fuck with it,
Hmm.
like um I think he actually will. And what I told him is like, hey, if you like it, tell everybody you know. If you don't like it, just don't say anything.
Right,
So
right.
what I was thinking about doing is that we have a local place that's what they call a sober bar here,
Hmm.
and it actually they do a lot of community outreach stuff. I work with a program that does street medicine for our houseless comrades, and they like the hub is there. So
Yeah, yeah.
what I was
You
thinking about
post that stuff
doing,
a lot.
yeah, so what I was thinking about doing is seeing if I can't rent it out one night and get a bunch of my friends to come over and like put it up on a big screen and have everybody come like walk through it with me.
Hell yeah, that would be tight.
That would be tight. We
Yeah.
do have a
So
stream here we can advertise it on, and I'll get over myself for that advertising purpose.
Oh yeah.
I, I can fake wanting fans for a night.
But
Uh,
also keep in mind like the people I work with are like our catchment age is between 15 and 30. And not for nothing, a lot of them play games. It's
Well, this
gotten me some unintentional cred points if I'm like meeting with somebody and like I'll get a bloop like from my phone and like they'll turn and look at me and be like, "Is that a Discord notification?" I'm like, "Yeah." Cuz I'm an old. They don't expect that. Um
You are
but
now officially a part of the olds.
no,
I'm old.
I
I'm gonna
no, the thing
die.
is I'm an old, but then they hear the Discord notification and they're like, "Oh,
What? The
you're
record's
an
cracking.
old, but you're actually a person. Oh,
How did I
So
get
there's
here?
perhaps
like,
I can talk to you."
Oh, can I say one positive thing really quick?
no, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Nothing positive allowed.
Besides, that the virtual novel is amazing, and that's totally positive too. But I went and watched Transformers 1 yesterday,
Ooh, yeah, I
and
heard
it
that's
was
good.
really good. It was. Like, I really enjoyed it.
I don't take too kindly about complimenting media in these parts, which said no one ever.
Wait, meaty parts? What's
Media.
Oh,
Media.
I thought you
Media
said
in these
meaty
parts.
parts, and I'm like, what's meaty about
So,
a fucking
No, that's
Autobot?
cool. Did you have fun at it?
what is it? Yeah, so it was my 8th anniversary,
Congrats.
and so
Yay.
me and my husband and my daughter, we all went out and watched it, and we got the like Transformers cup.
Womp, womp, womp.
And then but honestly, who is it? Is it Peel? Or no, I think it's Key is Bumblebee. Um, and he just kept saying like I'm thinking of a name. I'm thinking going Badassatron. And so he just kept saying Badassatron, and it was the funniest fucking thing ever. Oh, and his not to be a dick and do a spoiler, but he named one of his robots Tron.
Hey, Tron. It's good.
Nice.
You done fucked up, Tron.
And so they had some adult humor in it, like that you could pick up on if you had seen that. So it was really funny. Like I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
It was well worth it.
Can I go off on a completely different tangent?
Yes, please do. Yeah.
Where the fuck is Jenk?
Oh, he's playing in the Dustborn pre-release tonight.
He's doing what?
He's playing in the
Magic the Gathering?
Magic the Gathering stuff.
We have another set
Oh,
coming out.
okay. Some bullshit I don't understand or care about.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Friday Night Magic.
He's
Well-
hustling. He's hustling. He's making that money.
Hmm.
But fuck that. Like he came in hot in the afternoon. Like, oh, this stuff and fucking manatees and like
Speaking of manatees, did you see Roseanne
necro
Barr?
bestializing like whale heads and all these thoughts about how to approach that,
Yeah.
and then he doesn't even fucking show up.
That is peak Sons of Trier, and we should all applaud him.
Oh, coming in mid-afternoon, spouting a bunch of shit, and then not showing up in the evening.
Absolutely not at all manifesting the entire plan. Yeah.
All right,
Remember,
dope. All right, I respect it if that's the ethos.
anti-media. Plans never come to fruition. We never bother to go for fans. I don't even know why somebody's in our chat. I think they're getting ready to be like, all right, we got them. They're all five in a head
No,
full of bunker. Their pager number is 555-555-5555. Said
Oh,
the boss.
dude, that's
No,
just Jim.
no.
That's my
peep game. That's peep
FBI
game.
agent, Jim. Don't worry about him.
No.
That's our one fan that's in the back. That's like just there, and we got a whole thing, nothing going on, and it's
Were
just like,
they-
yay!
Was our fan saying boo or boo?
No,
us?
it's peep
I
game.
was saying boo.
It's my buddy. She's allowed to be here.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Like I didn't say that the fan. I didn't say that the watcher had to go. I didn't say they had
So
to go. What I'm
MJP,
saying is it's very weirded out by having a live audience member in my show that promotes having a live audience.
do we have a direct link to? Because I saw that people were looking on. Is it itch.co? Is that how you would
IO.
say it?
Itch.io.
IO.
Itch.io. It's
Itch-
itch.io.
We say itch.io sometimes.
Itch.io.
There we go.
Repeat, we have a fan in the chat. We have snipers on the ground watching for the fan of the. Stop pressing the
They're
button while you're
so,
trying to activate the radio.
they're so unfair to me.
We're
They're shooting at me and
I-
nobody cares.
this is this is quite fun. Oh man, we're gonna go back to doing the podcast pre-recorded because it's like fuck, it's fucking with my head.
pre-recorded is for pussies.
All right, you can you
All right, said it.
can you guys that
All
yeah, and I'm a
hail the
pussy.
pussy.
Oh no, the real problem with pre-recorded is that
I won't release it.
it's easier to be lazy when you just sit down and do it on the spot.
Mhm.
It's you're not like expected to edit, you're not expected to do any of that stuff.
Nope.
Who
Quality
you telling,
control, baby.
MJP?
Well, this is the show
Did I-
with the most gay dads, and you can even call now for gay dads. 1-800
Have you all-
dad, call now.
Show of all time with the gayest dads and the
With the pudding poppin',
Gay.
pudding poppers, my pecker in your popper's pee hole. You just-
Beehole.
Were
No.
you
Right in the
slandering
pussy.
Iggy Pop? Stop that.
What? Was I
Were
doing
you
Iggy Pop?
slandering Iggy Pop?
no,
That was
no,
Bill
but I'm
Cosby.
surprised.
That's
No,
not
that
Iggy Pop.
was Billy. That was our local dad rapist, Bill Cosby.
No, I knew he was doing Bill Cosby voice,
Yeah,
or rather that Bill Cosby was doing a quick appearance here.
yeah. Well, we
Um,
got Bill Cosby
But
live in the pod.
I thought you said something about Iggy Pop, and
I said
I-
I
I was
said
getting ready to
was-
put my dukes up.
Pudding pop, I think.
I said I was cramming my pudding pop up your papa's pee hole. I was cramming.
That's all fine.
What
That's
I
all
said,
fine. I got
what
no
I
beef
made
with
it
that.
sound
Don't
like.
shove your Iggy Pop up your papa's pee hole.
I'm
That's
gonna
not
shove your
work.
Iggy Pop right in your papa's Iggy Pop.
Talk about a red right hand. Oh no, that's Nick Cage.
I'm gonna pop your piggy pudding pop right in your Iggy Pop up your dad's pudding pop.
Give him the old
Perfect day.
biscuit.
Disco biscuit. What we used to do back in the day is a bunch of the boys would get together and we'd force a girl to hold one cookie.
Hey, hey, hey.
Then we'd all jerk off onto it after we gave her about 9 stashes of the Benadryl. And then
Hey, hey,
the
hey.
last
It's
one out,
Quaalude Roofies.
the last
Perfect, no problem.
one out had to eat the cookie out of her unconscious hands.
Hand. That's not where the cookie was.
That's where the cookie was, yeah.
It was not in her hands.
Yeah.
It was a little lower. Anyway.
That's the bit I did
many-
anyway. I mean, that's the
how
bit I
many-
did.
How many dads did diddle dads?
How many dads could Diddy diddle if Diddy diddle dads?
All of them.
Oh,
You would fucking diddle all of them.
15.
Diddle dee 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 dee.
But a couple
Hey,
of them would have to
dumb.
be underage fathers because that's how P. Diddy rolls.
Well, oh yeah, I mean, there's a few of those out there. I mean, enough that Diddy would do them.
And
Diddy
he
dumb.
and he
Diddy
could
do.
probably convince someone
Diddy do
That-
dirty D because Diddy do is dirty. Diddy does D. Damn it.
Diddy's dirty
If
diddling
Diddy
drama.
did the dirty with the daddies.
Did Diddy do daddy's dirty? That's the question that's everybody's mind tonight on the Sons of Tree Air.
Does he diddle the dude's dirty daddies?
Did Diddy diddle dirty daddies? That's the question tonight on Sons of Tree Air.
So what movie are we watching tonight anyway?
I don't know. We got about 4 minutes to figure that out.
Oh, can we please watch? Do you have?
I have Late Night
Dude,
with
I'm
the
gonna
Devil.
sound like such a dipshit. We don't have.
Well, wait, we were supposed to watch Prince of Darkness at one point. We
We
were
did
supposed
that.
to watch.
Do you got
Wait,
Gunsmith
did we
Cat?
watch Prince of Darkness?
Yeah.
That's what we watched last week.
Oh, I thought.
Hellraiser.
Yeah,
There we go. Thank
alright.
you. I couldn't
Well, we're
think of the
starting an
name.
hour in, so it's like a 2-hour movie. I don't know. I'm
Well,
saying I
no,
think
we
it's
have
fucking anime or
to
something.
have to be here on stream long enough to count it as a stream, and then we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, and since I started kind of early, we only have about 5 minutes left.
Them's the rules.
Let's see. I got Videodrome, They Live, The Thing, Lost Boys, The Thing 2011, which was also based, The Evil Dead, 5 Starship Troopers films.
Actually, Evil Dead 2, I prefer to Evil Dead, but that's just
I
me.
have Repo the Genetic Opera if anybody's interested.
I have
No,
the
that's
Evil
it.
Dead Extended Cut. I have the Evil Dead 2. I had Evil Dead Rise. I have
Army of Darkness.
Evil Dead 1991. Somewhere I have Army of Darkness. I don't have it here. I have Alien. I have Alien 1,
Oh,
Aliens, Alien 3, Alien 4, Requiem, Alien vs. Predator. It's not so good.
so
have
I found a local
Predator.
place that sells special effects makeup, like
Yeah.
local special effects makeup, and they
Bob
also sell
Kelly?
just like. Oh no, it's called the Darkness Boutique, and they also sell like oddities and shit like that. And one of the things is
Charlie
they
Murphy.
had these like gift cards or like birthday cards, and one of them was the fucking Evil Dead, and you would open it up and it was like this amazing 3D card that somebody locally designed.
That's why you so.
And it was like the Evil Dead, they had the alien from Aliens. It was like you would open the bay or doors.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
When the
is pretty
xenomorph
cool.
would
Like-
pop out.
Yeah, and it would pop out and shit. It was fucking
Aw.
cool, dude. Like I should buy one, and because they're only like $13, which really for a local artist is not terrible. It's like a 5x5 card.
That's not
Yeah,
bad.
I mean, and you keep that shit as art.
Right.
Like it's
And they have stickers
it's
too.
a quote unquote greeting card, but that's art, son.
Why have you disturbed our sleep and awakened us from our slumber?
I know they had a.
You will die! One by one, you will join us! Evil Dead
When you say-
rocked harder than Evil Dead 2, and that is an unpopular opinion. I'm right,
well, no,
though.
Evil Dead was fucking scarier than Evil
Everybody-
Dead 2.
Is Evil Dead where you first
town.
heard of Bruce Campbell?
He might have been in other shit first.
I think that was his first
No,
film.
no. I'm not asking that. I'm saying how you first heard of Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I think I saw Evil Dead 2 before I ever saw original Evil Dead.
That's possible.
My favorite 80s movie of all time, or 80s horror movie of all time, is Return of the Living Dead with the soundtrack by 45 Grave. Like that shit to me.
Isn't that considered one of the best horror movies of all time?
Well, by me, of course.
No, I think by like a lot of people.
Well, I mean, then they have good taste.
Yeah.
But
I spent all of my childhood watching horror movies and kung fu movies with my sister.
So
like starting basically in like the early to mid 80s. And so like all the straight to video shit like Microwave Massacre, Basket Case, like all that shit, Texas Chainsaw, like just straight to the brain. like as like before the age of 10, which explains a lot about me.
Right. It really does. However, my first encounter with Bruce Campbell was actually Hercules, the TV show.
Fair.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nah, he was based in that too.
Yeah, no,
He
but
was
like early exposure to Kevin Sorbo, like that's gotta cause some kind of cancer.
no, you know what? Like Xena putting him in his place is absolutely
That
amazing.
Xena is probably chemotherapy.
Lucy Lawless is an amazing human, and I
Yeah.
mean, as far as
She's
rich
all good.
people go, whatever. But
Yeah.
she's a very, very nice looking lady.
Yeah. Oh, she don't hurt to look at. Neither was Gabrielle.
Who not at all. Oh man, my first like sapphic romance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My like first real, so it was those two and Deanna Troi from Star Trek.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh. Counselor Troy.
yes.
Counselor Troy.
That was like my first girl crushes.
Yeah, I don't.
Ava, I don't want fun when I'm watching a horror movie. I want murder, chat. I want the Evil Dead. I want to be scared. And
So
Xena
you don't
rocked.
want. You
I
don't want.
liked Hercules. Hercules was dog shit, but I liked it. I don't care.
Well, I mean, Xena was kind of dog shit too, but
Yeah,
like,
Xena was dog shit too, but I really wanted to see hot
Yeah.
Lucy Lawless beat the shit out
Ex-
of people. And that show delivered
exactly.
that
Oh
in
man.
spades.
Oh, and that the skirt made of flaps. Come on now.
Yeah.
Oh my
Come
god. In the
on
ring,
now.
the ring that she
Yeah.
threw.
Was that a shot?
No, but I was
Was that a shotgun?
I was just talking about like something meant to
Yes,
show
I believe
off
so.
really, really toned thighs.
Tell her the chakram. Yeah, she used the chakram. That's nuts.
But anyway, all that being said, sounds like Daniel, you're saying that you like your horror uncut by comedy.
Yeah, the less comedy, the better. I want that thing to be just awful. I want to feel bad watching it.
So do you enjoy the Saw movies?
No, because those are like,
Torture porn.
yeah, it's pornography is what that is. That's just for jerking it off for people who like really want to choke a woman to death and can't bring themselves to get over the hump.
Ugh.
Yeah, Saw movies aren't good. Like
I
this is what
mean,
I'm saying about BDSM. Like, everyone's like, "Oh, I do this cutesy thing." Yeah, I'm not talking to you, and you need to quit pretending you're like those monsters. Because like you've never fantasized about sawing a woman's head off and then like parading around with it. Most BDSM proper practitioners, if you're into BDSM, that's what you think about doing usually, and you're like, "Oh, I got to settle for beating this woman bloody."
hurting people and killing people is different because once you
Yeah.
kill them, you can't hurt them anymore.
Oh, you can still fuck them though.
Yeah,
But you
but
also that's we're
they
moving
can't
into
feel pain.
necrophilia there, like you know. But
Well,
I'm
once you
just
kill
saying.
somebody, they can't feel pain.
Oh, I like being
Um,
paddled once in a while. I remember that objection from someone one time. It's like, yeah, really? Because you never thought about like locking a person in essentially a vacuum sealed cage and sitting on them just to make them suffer the humiliation of being sat on for hours on end. Oh, you don't do that? Okay, yeah, that you know, sorry. Guess what? You're just into spanking. That's
weak.
not the same thing. You know, you're not. Don't pretend. Don't let the liberals convince you that those are the same act.
All right. So, out of the things that we've discussed tonight, when it comes to like horror, no comedy, I kind of really feel like Hellraiser is the one.
Hellraiser's a good one. I enjoy the quality of Hellraiser. Um, I didn't find the Alien movies to be very funny, and the first two were excellent. Although the second one is
Oh no,
Oh,
sci-fi
they're
action.
so
but
fucking good.
that's like super. It's
Well,
sci-fi
see,
horror, not straight
Alien
horror.
and JP and I have not seen Hellraiser.
Wait,
Hellraiser's really
what?
good.
You haven't seen Hellraiser?
Well, give me a couple minutes
No.
here, and you
Oh
just
yeah, no, we're okay. Then we're watching Hellraiser tonight,
Right,
hands
MJP?
Hellraiser.
down.
if I remember correctly, did you answer?
Oh, me?
MJP.
Yeah, you.
Yes.
The one we call
Oh, yeah.
Have
MJP.
you
Oh,
seen?
I've never seen. You're right.
Have you?
You're right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Hey, like
Hellraiser's
I
not a
know what
seen
it.
BDSM movie. It's
Trust me, enough white people
closer
have
to
spoken
it,
to
though.
black people for years, so I don't
Yeah.
want to speak for you.
But
Yeah,
Mm.
it's closer to BDSM,
So
but
you don't want to be a white savior?
but one of the my defining memory of watching Hellraiser, uh we, picked it up like on VHS from the local video rental store. And I was watching it like on a Saturday afternoon, as one does when one is a preteen. And the earmuffs, spoilers. Everybody cover your ears if you don't know or you don't want to know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine.
Um
We're good. It's a
the
fucking like 30-year-old
I'm
movie. If you
talking
haven't watched it, then it's your fault. Sorry.
Belly. I'm talking to the listener. They might have different, you know. Anyway, point being, the part when bad uncle is like starting to knit the flesh together, and it's not the flesh yet, it's like the vascular system, like he's coming up from the floor, like where the blood is spilled. Fucking transfixed. Like I rewound it like at least twice, and then I rewound it again and I paused it and I went and found my mom. Now it's a weekend. Like my mom is like, you know, cleaning the house or like whatever she's doing at like 1 or 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. I was like, Mom, you gotta come see this. It's really cool. And she's like, okay, whatever. Like she doesn't know what the fuck I'm doing. It was the 80s. So she comes over and I was like, watch this. And I press play, and this vascular system rises up from the floor because of a giant like spill of blood and becomes like this like gooey like specter attached to like a fucking skeleton. And then I pause it, like, when it gets to the end of it. I was like, "Wasn't that great?" And she's like, okay, I'm glad you're excited about it." Like, and, like, excuses herself and goes back to whatever, like, cleaning the bathroom or whatever the fuck she was doing.
Yep.
Can you imagine? Like,
Yeah.
your 12-year-old is like, "Hey, you gotta come see this."
Yep. I'm waiting for it pretty soon. Actually, that's gonna happen.
That's the 80s in a
You're so
nutshell,
lucky.
really.
You're so lucky. Like, hey, I don't think my mom realized how blessed she was.
Yeah. You could have been a real ass fucking weirdo. You know what a fucking you know what? Here's the thing.
Well, at the
Hellraiser.
dinner table, she used to scream, "They're your kids, Mike."
Yeah. They're yours.
Yeah. Well, we would all like take turns, like
Damn.
trying to tell the grossest stories.
Right.
Like me, my dad, and my sister. And she would just sit there like with her head on her hands. And at a certain point, she'd be like, "They're your kids, Mike." It was beautiful. God damn it. Love my family. Fuck normalcy. I want no part of it.
Yeah, my apologies, Shad, for slighting Hellraiser. What I mean by it's not a BDSM movie is the point of it is not to be like you should definitely teach 4-year-olds this, which is like the liberal response, and I'm going to force your child to marry me so I can do this to them, which is the conservative response. So it's not in what I traditionally conceive of as BDSM, which is just a political justification for rape. And a way to start a conversation with this level of rape has to be considered acceptable in society. It's a little more
If anything,
nuanced in its take.
I kind of think Hellraiser is sex negative. If if we're defining that kind of shit.
It can be. It can be construed either way.
Or at least sex
Closer to
neutral.
I'm probably closer to your interpretation of it, where you interpret it as sex negative. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think they're saying like that kinky pain shit is desirable. I think it's kind of saying like if you're into that shit, like you're fucked up and you know, bad shit might happen to you eventually. I kind of think that's the message.
The
I actually just had something come up, so I gotta run, guys. But have a
All
wonderful
right,
night.
later,
see you
Helen.
next time.
The notion of the Cenobite in the same way that you have like the Buddhist monks who to mummify themselves alive and undergo that extreme suffering for religious purposes.
Got to slow their breathing down enough so that they're like technically dead.
Well, yeah, and then they just eventually rot away and die as their transition into death is different fundamentally than just brain go off. It's a slow withering rather than
They
that.
they get to experience the whole thing.
Yeah. That's a way to interpret it. I mean, that's like the Christian way to interpret it.
Mortification of the flesh.
Yeah, it's more like do you have the religious conviction to undergo this extremity? Yeah, I don't think that was Clive. Like, there's a read of that where that's fair to Clive's work. Like I said, my read on BDSM is just liberal rape justification, which conservatives take into the vulgar. I don't want it to be justified. I just want to rape. So that's where, like, when you label something as BDSM, which is just again rape fetishization to me, I understand where he's coming from. I know, like, it's obvious watching the iconography, following the plot, blah blah blah. Yes, that's the medium by which the story is told. But I tend to think of that as more something along the lines of like, do you have it in you to undergo this severe religious connection through all this torment and pain?
Well, I mean, like I don't want to get too much into the analysis because like we gotta also keep in mind like Clive
We have
Barker,
new.
gay, Clive Barker, gay. Uh, during the time when he was writing this stuff, world wasn't real friendly to that. So maybe he either internalized or just used it in his writing like that idea from the prevailing culture that people like him needed to be punished and were going to hell. Like,
Yeah,
there's a lot of that in there.
look at the early LGBT community and where they're heavily coded into that same worldview, and then take a step back and consider the narrative right now is that those early things shape, quote unquote, shape the movement, right? I have a negative view of that. In that, I think that liberals permitted that as long as they treated in the same level of filth and degradation that they already were engaged in through BDSM, which they learned through the aristocrats and those who came before them, and the ruling elite and their victimization and rape fetishes.
Well, I mean, to me, it has to do with
So
like
the
what does
idea,
prevailing society think is dirty and gross. And so
right?
at that time, dirty and gross applied equally to homosexuality and like torture shit.
The
Like
counterculture
to
is their fetish, right? So
right, so like to the conservatives, that shit was equal.
to the conservative, those were things they were able to force upon other people in their own situations and then demonize them for. For the liberals, this was a sexual ideology to be fetishized and reduced to the level of pornography, which
Right.
is why so much of our culture now fetishizes that shit instead of treats it as a normal thing. It is still just fetishized by the liberal, and for the conservative, it is practiced and then demonized.
Right. But I'm just saying like the culture that this came out of because like, the movie I don't know. If
You
you're pulling it up, you can tell me what year it came out. but he wrote the story in the years before that. So like we're really looking at like late 70s era. Like,
Yeah, but prior to that, you have all sorts of shit like bathhouses and shit like that where
well, no,
people are
but
fucking and they're
no,
banging.
that no, I'm not saying that didn't exist. I'm talking about like conventional culture, safe culture,
Convention
conservatives.
slave culture. That's not conservative. Slave culture is the culture of the peasantry to keep them under the wrap of capital.
Okay, so under slave culture,
Liberals and conservatives have a bourgeois culture, and in that bourgeois culture, rape is fetishized, and what is to be treated as quote unquote disgusting to keep the poors in line, lest they get any ideas about themselves and their bodies, is highly fetishized. So when people say, like our chat is protesting, liberals didn't keep in the closet, conservatives did. Liberals utilize the conservative to closet it so that they can idealize, hyper fetishize it, and reduce it to pornography that they are supposed to be able to celebrate, while conservatives engage in the taboo and are able to then demonize it as a type of religious cleansing. They feed the bourgeois feeds parasitically off the bourgeois to make sure that their cultural norms are protected. And the reason the reason they have to protect those cultural norms for themselves, right? A, it's a privilege they can keep from others, so they love that shit. That's just tried and true. More importantly, B, they need the proletariat patriarchally sexualized for all genders so that they keep a fresh supply of labor coming to both keep the cost of labor down and ensure that there is labor to exploit in the future. It's resource management.
but like specifically when it comes to some of the images and themes of this work, and
I think we've
you
moved
know,
past the work. It
well,
Chat,
all
fire
I'm
it off,
saying,
because I'm going to tell you, white people. That's it. Capitalism is deeply tied to whiteness. Whiteness doesn't exist without capitalism. That's where it took root.
well, but we know that.
That's for the audience.
Oh,
Because
I mean,
we're
I'm
stuck having an
usually
audience tonight.
fuck Dan. I'm usually tabula rasa. But even I know that at this point. I've been here for a minute. I've been showing up here Fridays for a minute. Like I've absorbed that part.
I understand. Maybe
But
chat
I'm saying,
hasn't.
okay. Well, chat, get with the program.
Don't
Keep
tell
coming back.
chat to get with the program. You got to talk to them. And we have the bully pulpit.
I just did. But like
Just fucking.
well, because I mean, you're all like, it's all about capitalism, and I'm like, well, I mean, everything is yes, but
Okay.
everything is yes, but specifically in this work, and and we can talk about how it relates to like Candyman or whatever, but like there's the what's the word they fucking use? The outre. That's a thing, right?
I don't
Like
know off the top of my head.
the thing that's like out of bounds, the thing that's like, ooh, not like ooh, although it really is to the conservatives, but the ooh, like the kind of uh disgust, fright, uh but rubbernecking reaction. And I feel like when it comes to Hellraiser that there is a parallel being drawn while it's not explicit in the work, because there I don't think there's any explicit homosexuality in the work. At least not as it's presented on film. But I think there's a parallel being drawn between homosexuality and extreme fetishism with BDSM, like the pain and torture shit, as far as the gaze of the conservative, not GAYS, GAZE.
Agree on that, chat. Yeah. The brother in the film can be insinuated to be LGBTQ.
Brother?
Yeah,
What brother? Oh, are you talking about the uncle?
might be the uncle. I
Like the
forget a little
main
bit. It's
guy.
been 5 years since I've watched Hellraiser, so I was due anyway.
Oh, and by the way, if you do,
The uncle, yeah.
Dan, if you do decide that you want a little more like comedy horror, fucking Nightbreed, so much fun.
I might. I usually those movies try so hard to be funny and they just don't hit for me.
No, but that's another Clive Barker.
That might. I mean, Clive Barker
Oh,
might be able to do it
and People Under the Stairs. We have to put that in
on the list.
like we have to put that on the list for our spooky 2-month
Okay. Yeah.
thing. People Under
Yeah.
the Stairs. I fucking love that.
You can
I
invite
love
chat in the
that film.
Discord. I'll start getting the movie up. We're gonna kill the stream.
All right. Bye,
Yeah.
guys.
If you know them outside of here.
Well, I'm not on YouTube, so I'm not seeing anything in chat.
Oh.
Username.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. If any of you know me, contact me. I'll get you in here.
We got this message if that helps.
Ah! Or I'll message her separately. I don't even know if she's on Discord.
Well, if they are, they can. You know me, I'm flippant about this stuff. My least favorite phrase in all of human history I'm going to use right now, why I deny a cat their meal. It was a good call, chat. It was a good call.
Why are you on a Catherine wheel? What?
I said, why? The phrase I hate the most in human history is the phrase, why deny a cat its meal? Which was used in justification in Korea as a legal justification why you should be able to rape drunk women. So I use it as a bit of a piece of dark sarcastic humor.
Deny a cat
its meal?
Meal?
Uh-huh.
I have never heard that before, and that's gonna
horrific.
rattle around my brain like a ping pong ball for a long, long time now.
When I start getting sympathetic towards other males, I think about that phrase and I'm like, yeah, fuck them. Fuck 'em. Because then I remember.
The movie shortly if you want to join
The
in,
phrase.
comma, that's why I'm asking.
Sorry,
responding.
In Korea there was a series of, God, it must have been like 15 years ago now. Although, like, to be fair, in South Korea there's like a string of rapes every like 3 months. So like 15 years ago, in a particular string of rapes, there were several women who were intoxicated, and they would just, they'd be on their way home and they would pass out in a public spot. And several of them became victims of not a serial rapist, but a series of rapists in a similar set of crimes, who were in particular stalking women when they would leave the bar in hopes that they would catch one who got drunk and fell asleep in public, which in itself is such a minor crime.
Isn't that what straight men have been doing since the dawn of time?
Well, this was a particular organized attack. What is my obsession with it? I think we don't talk enough about the fact that that's the society we live in, that there are all sorts of barriers to it and permissions to it.
See, to me, that's just common knowledge. Like,
if we don't talk about it, it's not common knowledge. We have to do it. And like, if we're about to watch Hellraiser,
hey, I'm gonna be the one to say it. Like, I don't think it takes very long for like any AFAB to know that there are men who are going to try to prey on you if you're in public, period.
Yeah.
But also if you're in public and you're consuming intoxicants.
I
like
think
first of all, they're gonna like some of them are gonna try to slip you something that you don't even know that like is in there. But even if they don't, even if you're doing it to yourself, they're gonna try to take advantage of that. And that's not on the women that are just living their lives. That's on those men for being fucking predators, but it's a reality that we have to acknowledge.
Yeah. As far as to answer your chat, to answer that chat, I think we live in a more severe one than what we acknowledge. I think what we acknowledge allows us to cope throughout the day. I think it's more severe
Oh no, it's way worse
than what
than
we're presented with. So, all right, I'm gonna get the movie started.
yay.
Yeah.